exactly the word, innocent and pure. Leewardist started with this very pure intent of simplifying urban design and architecture.
You're listening to episode number 14 of the Archgyan podcast with Leewardist founder Anuj Kale.
You're about to enter the Archgyan Podcast.
Archgyan Podcast.
India's first and very own architecture podcast, where you'll hear the insights, experiences, and journeys from India's leading architects. No matter what your skill level is, together we'll build on our knowledge and share architecture's greatest stories ever told. Now, here's your host, Manish Paul Simon.
Hey guys, welcome to yet another episode of the Archgyan podcast. That's a very new intro for the Archgyan podcast. Hope you liked it. Shout out to DJ Brian all the way from US. Alright, for today's episode, we have a super cool guest. He's actually pretty super cool. His name is Anuj Kale and he's the founder of Leewardist. If you haven't heard, Leewardist is an international comic brand wherein they make thought-provoking architectural and urban design content. Now, how many of us have heard of a comic on architecture and urban design, right? Anuj started Leewardist with the aim of simplifying architecture and urban design, and it has garnered attention not only in India but also around the world. He has a massive social media following, and his work has been published in various international mediums, some of them being Arch Daily and Architecture Page. His work has also been published on newspapers like Mumbai Mirror and portals subscribed by the general public like The Logical Indian, Men's XP and Scoop Up, and numerous design and architectural magazines. On this episode, which is part 1 of a 3-part series, yes, because he has lots to talk about, in this episode you will get to listen to Anuj's life experiences, right from his introduction to architecture, to joining CEPT, to quitting his high-paying job to pursue his passions, and inevitably creating something so great called Leewardist, which is definitely having an impact on the architectural society, not only in India but also around the world. And you'll get to listen to lots more, so stay tuned. If you do like this episode, please like and subscribe on whichever podcast platform you're listening from. And for the extensive show notes, head to archgyan.com/14. Now, without further ado, we have with us Anuj Kale. So let's get right to it, Anuj. Give me your brief background on how you got into architecture. Was it something you really wanted to do as a kid? Yeah, go ahead.
That's a question everybody asks me, that first of all, are you an architect? Yes, I am an architect. When I came into architecture, because the most simplest reason is that my dad is an architect. Yeah, it's a big eye opener for everybody. Yeah, my dad is an architect, and I looked at him a lot, and I looked at his perspectives. He used to draw a lot of perspectives, and I thought that is architecture.
Okay.
And I thought, yes, this is what I want to do. I want to draw buildings. Okay, to be very precise. And when I came into architecture, this is not at all. It's very true. When I came into architecture, I was immediately like, I have to design also, and I have to construct also. So the drawing part was lost. So yeah, I mean, my dad was an architect. He was in Kuwait for around 15 years, and we were in Kuwait. I don't remember anything from Kuwait because I was very small. But we used to get a lot of these comic books. He used to give us, he used to buy comic books for us. In fact, he has taped all these cartoons, Thundercats. I don't know if this generation knows about Thundercats, Bionic 6. I mean, again, Centurions. All of this was taped, and we used to see that. So I would say, yeah, a lot of exposure was there when I was very small, and I was intrigued by this world of cartoons and comics. Of course, no intent to take it as a profession, because in India you don't know what will happen. So again, long story short, we were in Kuwait. I was like 4 years old, yeah, and we were airlifted to India. That's the movie. So we were part of that scheme. We were back to India, and my dad wanted to be in a place not like Mumbai or Delhi, because he was fed up of those cities. And he chose a place called Nasik, which is around 200 kilometers from Mumbai. and he said that this is a good space to start his own things. So he also wanted to practice his own. He was working for an MNC in Kuwait and he wanted to practice. So we came to Nasik, my schooling. So after
After 15 years.
yeah, after 15 years, he came back to Nasik. I was 4 years, 4 or 5, I don't know, maybe 5. So let's take 5 for now. So 5, then after that, my schooling and my architecture happened in Nasik.
Right.
So that's like 22 you pass out. So yeah, the reason was I saw my dad. I thought making perspective is architecture, and I jumped into it. And when I came into it, I was like, oh my god, I have to design also, I have to construct also, and I also have to meet clients, I have to talk with people because I am an introvert. So I have a TED talk which talks about what am I.
Yeah, that's a really
Yeah.
interesting TED
Yeah,
talk.
so that actually tells my. So if people want to know that part, they should watch the TEDx this thing, because that talks about my inner being, which is basically an introvert. Still today, I'm also a very big introvert. The only thing is I have to. Yeah, the only thing, because of my profession, I am automatically. I don't have to pretend. I am now slightly extrovert, but deep inside, I am an introvert. So that is TEDx. So let's leave the
Right.
audience to, like, they can check it out. So I thought making perspectives is architecture, and I came into that. But still, even when I came, I focused a lot on these drawings instead of the design. Like again, I was quite intrigued by that idea of making a drawing of that building, not in designing a building. My mind was never in that. Although I used to think logically in terms of the design, I never was too impressed by it. I uh, I actually drew a lot of stuff in my college, like not comics, only architecture stuff.
Okay.
So that was a small hint that I have to draw.
Okay.
Maybe I don't have to
No,
design.
but at least in 12th, you would have known that architecture is much more than just drawing.
No,
and
actually, I was like blindfold. I just blindfoldedly came into it because I was like, my father is an architect.
Right.
I have to draw buildings. I'll just go there. In fact, there are these tests, right? These NATA or whatever. That also never
so
said
you never
anything.
prepared or anything, you just gave it.
Yeah, I just gave it because I had a lot of this. Like my father used to tell me about things. So I was like, this graphics ADG, architectural design and graphics.
Yeah.
That was like memorized. So I never took any. I took a class in Nasik, but I was already prepared. Ki this is. I'll just crack it. So I got into Nasik. I chose a Nasik college because my father said that you be here for 5 years under me, and then you want to go. It's up to you where you want to go later.
So you were staying with your parents when you did your bachelor's.
So I am not a hostelite.
Okay.
So I was a very sincere student. I worked mostly on my designs. I never focused on the other subjects because I wanted to present my ideas.
Right,
I was very happy in presenting my ideas rather than like going into the details. And I used to fudge a lot of my mistakes also through the presentation. So that idea continued. The comics was lost somewhere because
No, but you were doing the presentation in a
so
comical way. Right?
but the comics part, like reading the comics, or that was lost because I have a big, my library is full of comics instead of architecture books.
Oh, awesome.
So I have these 10-15 rupees Batman and Superman comics. I hope you remember that.
Yeah. The small books.
Small
right?
books, yeah. Like there's only one story. I have all the Marvel comics and all the DC comics.
So you're a big time comic collector as well.
Yeah. So at that time, maybe not right now because it's too expensive. That was not sarcastic. That's true. I don't invest in comic books because I can make my own comics now. So I don't invest in. But I have a lot of collection, and I used to look at that, and I used to always imagine, this is awesome. This job is awesome, but who's doing this job in India? Okay, that question always had, like, I always had this question in mind: ki who's doing this job? Are there people who are really doing this like full time? But this was just a question. Architecture never helped me explore that idea because architecture is too hectic, and everybody who's listening might be knowing that it's very difficult to do something on the side, especially at a time. So I'm not that old. I am actually old. So at that time, because of not much of exposure, not internet, itna nahi tha, there was no internet, like not much of internet, fast internet, I would say. So it was difficult to have exposure, and especially me being from a small town, Nasik. I had to only focus on architecture. The only way I could explore is through the presentations. That's it. That was the only thing I used to do in my college. Comic was gone. Like today, if in today's context, people have a lot of resources, especially the internet,
Yes.
where they can do their submissions and they can also focus on their whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like for
That's true,
example,
yeah.
if I was here in today's context, I would have used the internet to like YouTube videos. There are a lot of videos which tell you to like how you can draw characters, and like, I had no idea of what is a character design. So architecture happened. Not satisfied at all because it was not a very good college. Yes, people say that, oh, my alma mater. No, nothing like that.
Right. This is
My
in Nashik, right?
Yeah, my college did not teach me anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's not give the names out,
Yeah,
but
sure.
yeah,
All right.
it did not give. I'm not like, yes, this is my alma mater. No, I say which is this college. I don't know because it did not teach me anything at all. In fact, the faculties now they say that he's our alumni, but I deny college because it did not give me anything. Not a good place to be. So in terms
I
of
can kind of relate to that, but I
Yeah.
might is also
yeah,
not.
yeah. So I think every college is, but in terms of my college, no exposure at all because it was a very small city. It's a small city. At that
And it
time,
was a new college, is it?
no, it's an old college.
Oh, but
it's,
still, okay.
it started in '89,
Oh, yeah, okay.
so it's an old college compared to all the colleges coming up. So, but then you cannot expect anything from any college. Like even if it is 50 years old, you cannot expect anything except for Ahmedabad.
Yeah, so you
Because-
graduated in 2008 and...
10.
10, right,
Then I
okay.
graduated from Nasik, and then because I was not satisfied with my education or anything at all, I thought I want to do a master's.
Right.
And at that time, 10, I remember 8, 10 was the time of urban design, CEPT SPA. Like everybody's applying for CEPT. Yeah, it's like, what master you want to do? It was like urban design. Like why? I don't know. It's a trend. It's like a trend. It was a trend. Exactly, it was a trend at that time, that urban design. And I again blind.
No, I think it still is, right?
Yeah, it still is. Now you have more options.
Yeah.
At that time, it was like only 2 colleges,
Yeah, sure.
SP and CEPT. So people are like, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Urban design." Why? Because it's a trend, and I just applied. So 10 without any break, I applied for CEPT. So that the trend had an effect on me in that way that I immediately applied. I made a portfolio. Everybody was enjoying going to Goa. That's what people do after
Yeah, yeah.
graduation. Goa, Leh Ladakh. So I thought,
So you didn't take that break. You
no,
just...
exactly. So because I was like, I fell into that trap of the trend that you have to do urban design, and I thought I don't want to waste time because I might not take that decision later. So I took that decision. I applied. I was called for an interview, and then there's this professor called Neelkanth Chaya.
Oh man, he's the best.
People should search about him, whoever is listening. So he told me that you should apply for landscape, and I'm like, no sir, I'm made for urban design. No, you should apply for landscape, and I'm fighting. No sir, I can't do urban design.
Okay.
And then he's like, stop, we know better. And I'm like, oh my god, what kind of interview this was? And I left disheartened that, oh my god,
But you stuck to your decision that you wanted to do urban design.
no, he took me actually. The next part is
Okay.
that they took me.
Okay.
Just that's what I left there, and I was like, Papa, I think it's not going to work out. Let's book a train back to Nasik. And then next day they got this thing, and somebody called me that you have been selected, and I went in, and I was very happy, of course, because CEPT was like a dream come true.
Happenings.
Yeah, and it still it is a very good place. At that time, it was like very like everybody. So a prestigious university, and I got in, and when I got in, it was actually completely opposite. It was hell for me because their way of teaching is like completely opposite to what I have been taught.
Studied in your bachelor's.
Yeah, for an example, he used to tell me that tomorrow there's a lecture, but you have to prepare and show it to the class, not us. And I'm like, I don't even know what this topic is. Then I had to read every night, like whole night, prepare a PPT in the morning, present it, and then there is going to be a debate. You are just not going to present it.
Oh, wow.
People will debate and discuss your thought, and you have to defend. And I'm like, what is this? So I used to shiver. And the first 6 months, I always had this thought that I should quit. It was very, very depressing, and I don't feel ashamed to say that. No, Leewardist does not get depressed. No, Leewardist does get depressed, and I was very depressed at that time. We make comics, but it's a very serious business actually behind the comics, and in fact, at that time also it was very hard for me to cope up. Yeah, coping up. A lot of people have problems in the college that I cannot cope up. So I could not cope up. and I found ways to give a bahana or an excuse to my parents or to the faculty that I cannot continue this. I'm not fit for this.
Oh yeah, so you did.
I tried, but my father is very he's very strict. I could not say anything to him, and I continued those 6 months. And when I finished that semester, that final jury, I was like, no, this is not that bad at all. And I continued, and it was very intense.
So
it was
Sept in a way pushed you out of the comfort zone
yeah,
and all that.
it actually pushed me out of my comfort zone, which I was having in my hometown. 5 years, no competition, no exposure. I thought I was the king. Okay, and I
So
had
you
my
were the topper, is it? From
yeah, 5
Pune?
years. No use at all. Listen, everybody, no use at all. 5 years I was a topper and the gold medalist.
Oh, wow.
The gold medal in Nasik is named after B.V. Doshi. B.V. Doshi has sponsored the gold medal. I have a gold medal which says B.V. Doshi Gold Medal Award.
Okay.
It's good to have because now he's a Pritzker winner and I can boast about it. But previously, before that, I was like, what is the use of this medal? I mean, in fact, actually there's no use of any medal which you get in life. It's about something else which you feel that this is it, this gold medal is my thing. No, there's something else which is there within you which you have not found at all, and that comes out of this
Constant search.
yeah, constant search, intense. You have to be like, my professor used to tell me that you should have this rigor all the time, and I'm like, what the hell is this rigor? So I used to search rigor and then rigor. Acha, rigor, which means you have to have it continuously in your bloodstream. Like urban design should be there in your bloodstream every time, like 24 hours, and you have to work on it completely and continuously without stopping. And I'm like, this is impossible. But then after 2 years, that trigger actually helped me to work a lot. I was not afraid of any hard work because that 2 years actually made me like a zombie that who can work anytime, anywhere, without taking too many nights, because we were actually told to
Work
manage
smart.
our time.
Okay. Smartly, yeah.
Smartly, yeah. CEPT is not a place where, like, yes, people spend a lot of nights, but it actually helped us to be a good, like, a complete person, like
Right.
a good human being. You can manage your time. You have to be smart. Intelligence is subjective. Like, everybody is intelligent, so they don't say that you are less intelligent. So they don't discriminate in that way. So you get the point that CEPT actually helped me to get out of my comfort zone, yes, and actually look into depth of what I want to do in life.
Right.
So they did not teach me urban design. They taught me that I should question, and I should question first myself that this is what I want to do in life. Okay. So then I questioned that what do I like the most? So then that took me back to childhood, that yes, I have read a lot of comics. I still have a lot of fascination towards it. Why can't I use comics as a tool to say something? I don't know what that something.
But
I
you're
didn't.
always saying it, right? Through your work and...
Yeah, in a way.
In a way,
In a way, but not like what it is today.
Yeah.
Like people ask me that, oh, so in your college you might be making your presentation like comics. No, not at all. It came very late. Like CEPT was just that first spark,
Right.
or a catalyst, I would say. The second thing, when I like came out of CEPT, I was afraid also. But then that peer pressure, parental pressure, all the pressures you
Oh,
feel
man,
that
tell me about it.
everybody who's listening might have been facing it about it. That forced me to take a job, which is completely fine. I'm not regretting it at all. So I took a job in Mumbai.
Okay, wait. Before you proceed, so guys who do masters get a good pay compared to those who do bachelors in architecture. Is that true, or
Yeah, that also depends on the type of course you do. Like urban design is slightly in between urban planning and architecture.
right?
So they fit also, and they sometimes not fit also, because people want in the society, I mean in the government or in the urban planning is a known master's course which
Yeah.
gets highly paid. I mean, I would not suggest it because it's a very mundane job. Okay, but urban design is actually it was very interesting.
So, what is the kind of work you did when you joined?
So I did a lot of master planning work. I hope you're also doing the same.
No, man.
No. A lot of master planning for an MNC which is based out of Hong Kong. So they had an office in Mumbai, in Khar, and there were 3 people in the office, and I was one of them. So I was the SketchUp guy, the designer, the presentation person, the peon, the chai maker, and bringing samosa for my Dutch boss. Who,
Seriously, for
yeah.
an MNC.
Yeah, but I used to get paid a lot, so I used to do everything. And there are only 3 people. One guy is a Dutch guy, The other is a Indian guy who's 35, Ajay. So Steven, good guys, very nice guys. I would like. They're also part of the Leewardist journey. They
Oh,
help
wow,
me. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
So Steven and Ajay and me. So I used to do a lot of other works also, but I used to love it because I used to have a very good time, and I used to get a lot of time for myself,
Right.
which is very
So
rare.
it is not the 9 to whatever
No, no,
time,
no.
right?
It's
Like in
10 to
architecture.
5:30.
Oh, nice. Peace,
So
man.
I chose that kind of jobs in a way so that I could at least do something of my own later. So I used to spend time after office in office because my office had an AC and my home did not have. So I used to spend a lot of time in my office to work on or think about what I want to do. So at that time, the Oatmeal, people should check again. There's a guy called the Oatmeal who still makes comics about anything. Like he makes web comics, not
Right.
social media comics.
Right.
So there's a difference.
The oatmeal.
The Oatmeal, yeah, it's
Okay.
very, very. I mean, I used to love them a lot. Still today, he does not make a lot of comics these days, but I used to see his narratives, and he used to talk about anything like running, like just running, like as an exercise, and he used to tell it in a very nice manner. And I was like, yeah, this is a very good way. Like it is somewhere between what I loved, which is the comic books which I used to read, and this new format of storytelling which I found on the internet.
Right, right.
So that actually helped me that you don't need to print a book to like a comic book to make an earning or make a name. So you can actually publish your work online.
So this was his
Yeah,
website or his
theoatmeal.com.
ebooks and all.
And at that time, 2010 11, only Facebook was very active. Instagram just came, I guess, 2012.
Yeah, later.
That makes me very old actually now, thinking about it.
So you were there on Instagram as soon as it came out and all that.
I don't know when it came out in India, but Instagram came very late. Yeah, very late in my life actually.
Yeah.
So Facebook was the only platform where I could publish. So I opened a blogspot, Google Blogspot, and I used to write and draw about like comical blogs about urban design because that urban design kida was there in my mind.
So what is the blogspot called?
It's
Blogspot.anujkale.com.
yeah, it's www.leewardist.blogspot or blogspot.
Oh, the name was there back then.
Yeah,
itself.
yeah.
Okay.
So this was actually coined by my two classmates in Ahmedabad, Saurav Banerjee and Somdeep Sinha. Like a big salute to my friends. We started it. We were doing a lot of competitions in the master's course. We did around 25 competitions in 2 years, and we won around 10 of them.
Whoa.
And we traveled all over India. We wished we would also have gone outside India, but nobody paid for that. But a lot of people paid for the Indian trips.
Oh, yeah.
And we used to love this free thing. I still love it.
How
Like,
did you manage everything, man? Like competitions and...
so that's what three of us, we were very passionate and we thought, "Arey, kuch karte, let's do something together."
Acha.
And we were of the same age. The only like same age people in that course, because everybody is like 2 years with experience or 5 years or 10 years. So we were the only one who were of the same age, and we did a lot of competitions. Just sort of passion, crazy. We were crazy. I don't even remember why we did that. It just happened, and we traveled a lot. And I like this free thing. Ki you do something and people will pay for your flight or train or accommodation. We were called to this Infosys campus in Mysore, and we were like, oh my god, competitions like brought us here free of
ऐसे ही
charge.
चलता है.
This is good. So we thought let's at least do for that incentive, right? That incentive is maybe just having a free flight, free food and good accommodation, and that worked. And we've traveled a lot. We traveled to Bhopal, Mysore, Bangalore, Chennai, everywhere.
But how do you come across these competitions? You Google
we used
it
to,
or...
we used to Google a lot. The irony is, in today's context, we actually promote a lot of competitions, so it's a good thing. Yeah, thank you for making me remember that. So yeah, this happened. So Saurav and Sohamdeep, we thought of starting it together initially, and but Saurav's wife and then girlfriend told us that you should go with this Leewardists. Which is also a question, I guess, in your this thing. So yeah, Shruti told us that you should go with Leewardist, and I'm like,
That's
what?
how it was born.
Yeah, so then I'm like, what is this Leewardist? So she said that the hill has two sides, the leeward side and the windward side. Yeah, it's actually the geographical term. So you have the windward side, which is very good, like which has a lot of wind, rain, sun. Okay, so the good side you see is the windward side, and the back side, which does not have a lot of wind and rain. Sun is there, so it's very barren and it's not very good to look at. So somewhere our architects are on the leeward side. Nobody knows about us, but we are part of that hill. but nobody knows what we do.
You're on the dark side.
Yeah, dark side of the hill, moon, whatever, dark side of the moon. So yeah, exactly. So that is Leewardist. We are trying to solve or
Nice.
bring light to the leeward side of the hill. And then I'm like, yeah, this is good. So we joked also at that time ki ek bar, like once we'll get big, now we'll tell this story to people. and
And you are actually now.
maybe, yeah, sort of. But it's good to tell the story because it was a very nice moment at that time. Let's name like this so that when people ask us, what is your name about? And then we'll tell the story. Leeward side of the
That's
hill.
why very innocent, and then you still feel like.
Yeah. Exactly the word. Innocent and pure. Leewardist started with this very pure intent of simplifying urban design and architecture.
Right.
And it was always the intent ki it should be very simple, and we never thought of it to make it big, or I would not say big. We never thought that it would scale up. We just wanted to draw about architecture and urban design.
With honesty.
With honesty and with whatever style of storytelling, with whatever topics, like it is completely up to us. No sponsorship, nothing. We just thought we'll just draw. And we initially started with making comics about urban design. So we did not name it Urban Design Comics because nobody knows what urban design is. Even architects don't know. Students to dur ka baat hai. Like my mom doesn't know what I do. She is she is still very unsure ki what does Anuj do.
Still, are you? Because now you're like pretty.
No, but she doesn't know. Like people ask her what does Anuj do. He was an architect. Then some urban designs he did, and now he's making comics. So she's also confused, and the person who's asking that question is also confused. So it's very difficult for my mom and dad to tell people what does Anuj do, and then they're like trying to avoid that question and answer something else because it's very difficult. Like I cannot define what I do. Like there are many facets to my profession or whatever I do, and trust me, there was no case study at that time. Like case study as in what should I follow. There was no mentor. I mean, I had friends who were mentors. There was not like mentor. Like you
like
talk about
chalked
this.
a pathway for you to.
Yeah. Because in today's context, when you talk about starting up and investing, mentors, I did not have any mentor. No case study as in what should I follow. So it was just a pure path. Ki dekhte, let's see what happens. Let's just start. So it started simultaneously with that office in Mumbai.
So you're working and doing this on the side.
Yeah, because I had a lot of time. 5:30 my office gets over, so I'm lucky maybe. So maybe it might sound very dreamy for the audience. 5:30 office? No, but it was. And I chose that office because I wanted time for myself to explore. So I gave 1 year of my time with that office to explore that what I want to do. And halfway, like 6 months down the line, I was pretty sure that this is what we want to do. Leewardist, we'll make comics about urban design and architecture. And I told this to my boss, Steven, and he's like, thumbs up, I'm with you. You should do
what
it.
a boss, man.
And
Wish
he
we had
said,
more
like,
bosses
you
like
can,
that.
yeah, I wish. That's why I'm very proud to say his name, Steven Björnder. He's from the Netherlands. I think he's from Utrecht, but he's very serious. But he was like, oh, this is a good thing. I think you're made for this. You can say whenever you want to leave. So I said, no, I'll continue for 6 more months and I'll leave. So after like January to January, I'll leave after
So
6
you
months.
work for a full proper year.
A year, and I left. And they were also happy to leave me, and they still have not found a replacement.
Okay.
Yeah, so the office still has a vacancy if anybody wants to apply for
Please do apply, guys.
Townland. It's based in Khar, good connectivity, good boss.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you do need a urban design degree from
for that.
CEPT.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So that happened, and I had some savings with me so that I could try something for a year. I moved to Pune because my brother was staying there.
Right.
So I stayed with him to see an experiment for a year. So I had this plan in mind. 1 year we'll experiment without any idea of getting money. So this is
So
again.
you had some savings though, right?
Yeah. No, but when people come to me today, like the students or maybe the young professionals, they come to me and they say ki if I want to start something, how do I earn out of it? I'm like, don't think about earning from it. Just start it. If you fail, then
At least you gave it a shot, right?
yeah. But then I also have another answer to that. You should not fail, because that failure is just a pause. It's not stop.
Right.
It does not mean you stop. It's a pause. Just pause. Sit with that failure. do something else for a moment and get back to what you really want to do. So there's no failing actually, it's just pausing. You just pause for a moment, you don't stop. Stop means fail. So when people say that I started this and I came back to my this thing, which means that they were not that passionate, like 100% passionate with that particular thing which they had. That's why they failed. So they were
Right.
not passionate at all. So they gave up. Simple as that. No, 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 you don't understand my condition. I don't want to hear any reason. So you're giving reasons, which means that it was not your thing. You should give reasons to do that thing. You should not give reasons to say that I cannot do this because of these reasons. You should say, I will do this even if I have 10,000 things which are stopping me, I will still do it.
Awesome.
So that is what today's student needs to know, and that will not happen because the education system is completely messing it up.
Plus
I
your
think we'll
parents
talk about
also.
that later. Yeah. I know.
Support from your
I know.
parents is very important, right?
Yeah, and I know a lot of the audience would want to hear. So, what did your parents say? And a lot of people.
So how
Ask
did
me.
you tackle?
So one thing, the advantage which I had was that my father is an architect, so he understands this world of creativity to some extent. That's a very important factor. I mean, maybe I'm lucky in that format, but still, he's still that same old parent which like your father, everybody's father. He's that same guy. So he showed friction initially. I again have an answer for that. My parents or my father showed friction towards what I want to do, and I was like, no, I should not do this. You show confidence in such a way to your parents, or like it should be seen in your face that no, yeah, this guy is serious. So I think let him do whatever he wants to. So your confidence, it should not overconfidence. The confidence should be seen, and trust me, every parent can see that, and they will agree to it, even if it is the world's most strict father or mother. They will see it. No, this guy is serious. Okay, I should step back, and that eventually happened with my father. Initially, he was showing some friction in different ways. So everybody has different ways to show friction. No, you should not do this. He never said no. He was trying to say, no, you did urban design, you did architecture. That's a better job, or which is completely fine. I like it's completely okay with my parent because he was concerned, like every parent. But I was like, no. I mean, in fact, I've never said no. I was like, I was doing my work shamelessly.
So this is why you moved out and went to Pune, is it?
No, but he came to Pune. My mom and dad came to Pune also. Yes, some part of it was also to not have a lot of, because then it might be too much for me. That no, aisa, like so. I stayed with my brother. Of course, he also used to come for a month and stay with us, and then again go. Like my parents used to go back to Nasik,
Right.
so he was there. Like half of the time he was there, but I was like shamelessly working on my thing. Shamelessly, like I was like also try to do those competitions. Anuj, work on those competitions, urban design. I'm like, oh, okay, and I did my own stuff. So this is that phase where it's very tough, because when you're in an office, simultaneously it's good, but when you leave it, you feel thoda sa sunk. You feel that
Yeah, you feel
the sunken part in your like my money is spending and I don't know how to earn. So then like petrol, okay. Mobile phone, okay. Ghar pe life to give to my brother, like something for the buy and everything, okay. So things are going pretty fast, like the money is going away pretty fast. Okay, so I need to at least fill some part of it, because whatever I had might be over soon. So prioritizing is something which I learned during those times. How to prioritize your life. I don't want to do this. I don't want to socialize, because it's in Pune. It was me spending a lot. So I will not socialize. It might make me very weird that Anuj doesn't socialize. I don't want to spend money.
So
So
you're 24/7 at home, doing your thing.
yeah. In shorts, I was making comics in shorts with my dog Mogu. We had a dog. Like we still have. It's in Pune.
It's a
It's a
what
straight
breed?
up. We adopted him. So we adopted him. He was somewhere. So my sister-in-law and we like dogs a lot. So Mogu, me in my shorts, and we were making comics. So initial comics, like I said, were about urban design. Not at all appreciated by everybody, but like your friends and your relatives are like, Anuj, good, keep it up, nice comics.
Two friends of yours, is it?
I mean, and other friends, like all your well
No,
wishers.
what about the two other friends?
So yeah, they were there initially,
Right.
but then life happened. They also had loans to pay. I did not have loans to, so like maybe some part of it I was lucky. I did not have any loan to pay.
Right.
My one of my friends had loans to pay, so he had to join an office. My other friend was, both of them are Bengali, but one of my friend moved to Delhi. The other friend was from Kolkata, so he moved back to Kolkata, and he said initially that no, Anuj, you do this. It's very difficult for me to contribute anything from here. He was quite clear, and the other guy said ki let me sort this out, I'll come back. But that 1 year, a lot of things happened. Like I said, so I started making comics, and everybody, all your well wishers are like, "Arey Anuj, great, superb comics, thumbs up, too good, 100%." But that, like, they just say it because they're your friends.
Yeah.
So that those were the only people who appreciated my comics initially, and I somewhere felt that I don't want wawa, like what do you call wawa, or appreciation from your well wishers. I want appreciation from people who don't know me. So how do I do that? So then I started looking at topics which are more relatable. So then that is where I found this word called relatable, because the internet works completely on relatable. What is relatable?
Alright, guys, so that was part 1 of this 3-part series with Anuj Kale. Hope you liked this episode. On part 2, you will get to listen to Anuj's opinions on architectural education in India, more on his experience in CEPT, his inspirations, how Neelkan Chaya, a professor from CEPT, had a great impact in his life, and lots more. So stay tuned. The second part will be released in a few days' time. Thanks for listening, guys, and here's the outro. Cheers.
You've been listening to the Archgyan podcast. We're still building the community. Please share this knowledge with someone you know who could benefit. Just send them to archgyan.com, where you'll find our free newsletter, and for more podcast episodes, search for the show on any major podcasting platform. Don't forget to subscribe where you're listening right now. And if you liked it, leave a rating or review.